Okay, so we were just chatting, and typically we don't record these calls because they are mastermind calls, which is really just a brainstorm session and us to get face to face every couple of weeks. But since we have a brand new program coming out, and Alina and I just kind of want to share some of the stuff we've been hearing from upline people and things like that, and just to brainstorm with you guys too, we thought it would be good to hit record today. So I just want to say a couple of things before we get started about this whole deal. First of all, I don't know if you guys heard that this was officially Beachbody's biggest launch ever, and for good reason. I mean, people are needing this in their life, and I have never had so many people message me like within the first few days of a brand new program and just say, I feel so calm and amazing, and I've lost a couple of pounds already, and like this is exactly what I was looking for, and I don't have to be perfect, and there's not all this pressure. And those are the things we need to talk about on our social media, because 9 times out of 10 people think that if they go on a diet they have all of these strict rules, and this is the one that is like the opposite of that. And I think that needs to be talked about. I think any success that we see in our SLD 2BMindset group needs to be on your social media as an anonymous shout out. Brooke losing 7 pounds since Sunday, holy bananas. Like, and she has a lot of weight to lose. She has a long journey ahead of her, but 7 pounds is amazing. Those things just need to be like sprinkled in to like every post. Like, I'm so happy today because of this, and this. And one of them should be that a girl named Brooke, you don't even have to use her name, just say a girl lost 7 pounds in my nutrition group and she doesn't have any strict rules to follow. Like, give those little, jabs in there. And then once a week, do a right hook where you say, okay, now join me. Like, you've seen all the success that these people are having. Join me. Let's do this together. I have changed my scripts so that when I ask them questions at the beginning, I say, are you willing to commit 30 to 40 minutes a day to work out and 5 minutes a day to check into an accountability group? Or would you rather focus solely on nutrition? So I give them kind of that option so that I can tailor my conversation after that to know if I'm going to put them in the lifers or put them in the 2BMindset group. And Alina and I, correct me if I'm wrong, Alina, after I blab, but Alina and I really don't know what we're doing in this 2BMindset group. It might be similar to a lifers group where it just goes on forever and ever and ever. We don't really have an end we don't have a plan. We're just winging it and using the content that Beachbody gave in the toolkit for this group, but those end at some point. So we have to figure out as a group where we're going to go from here. So I'll let her kind of talk.
Yeah, no, that, I loved, if you guys haven't watched Andrea's, Insta stories today, go check that out, because she did a good example of sprinkling in that success story today of the 7 pounds, because even the little successes are huge for people when we're talking about nutrition, especially because that's 90% of the people, that's the bigger struggle than the fitness aspect. The nutrition and the clean eating with consistency is so hard. And knowing that there is a way for them to do that where they can still go on vacation and still, go to the cookouts and do all the real life stuff, that's really, really appealing to people. Knowing that we don't know what the heck we're doing with this, since it is so new and totally different than doing a workout program, is one of the reasons I think it's really important to do these masterminds and brainstorm some ideas of what this is going to look like. I don't think we're going to have a full idea. We're only a couple weeks in here. A full idea of what this is going to be, best way to continue maybe once we get through the whole program, or like the whole, I don't know, however many days this one setup of this program is. But once we get through that, what that's going to look like. And I think we just need to continue this conversation of what is that like? Are we going to do, rather than Zoom workouts, are we going to do once a week where we get on and we all meal prep together? Or, we've got to kind of just get creative here. And across the board, there's going to be some different ideas thrown out. We can watch how different teams are doing it and kind of tweak things and make it our own. But we've really got to use our creative juices here and throw out all of our ideas and kind of just find what works best. And it's going to be trial and error, because nutrition is not something where they show up for 30 minutes and they're done. Nutrition is an all-day thing. So how are we going to help people stay consistent with this, keep making those healthy choices? Yes, there's no strict rules, but they also can't be choosing to eat the cookies all day, every day, right? They have to be following the veggies most and the water first and all those, the two bunnies. So does anybody have any, before we kind of dive into question and answer and that, do you girls have like anything off the bat that you were wanting to talk about or feedback from the program so far?
I still haven't dove in much to it. I've kind of just been like reading through stuff because I got my package in the mail the other day. So I've kind of just been reading through stuff and trying to, I think, wrap my head around it a little bit still. But for me, just being in the group has been helpful. So I feel like it's just more personally, I have to just learn more, I think, about the program and what it is really. I mean, I get obviously the little tidbits that are put out there and things, but I think there isn't anything like that stands out that I'm like confused about or not sure about. I think just a quick question I have before I forget, because I wrote it down. So when you talked about, Andrea, like you said, okay, this is how I've changed kind of my script or whatever. So if someone responds and let's say they're like, well, I don't know, I kind of want both. And maybe they are that person that's going to do the 2BMindset and the workouts, and again, you might not have the answer, but would that person then be in both groups so that they can still be checking in their sweaty selfies, but then also they're in the 2BMindset? Or is that kind of still something that we're brainstorming and determining?
No, I'm really funneling them into one or the other. So if they want to do both, meaning focus on nutrition and workouts, then I plug them into the lifers. And then we focus on using the container system, kind of the traditional route. If they're like, I kind of got my workouts in, I love to run, or I love to go to the gym, or I don't want to work out at all, and I really just want to focus on nutrition, then I don't even bring up the lifers, and I just focus on 2BMindset and say, you can have access to workouts at home, for $40 extra, you can get the larger, package, so that if you do want to down the road, you have access for a full year. But I don't even mention the other group after I kind of hear their answer to that question. So just in thinking and in brainstorming with this, as we're talking, I almost feel like because there is a set number of posts and content, it would be nice like every 60 days to kind of refill the group up. Does that make sense? So 6 times a year, there's a really big push to, okay, let's find a whole new set of people. You kind of graduated after 60 days, and then we can maybe transition them into the lifers where they can still maybe check in. And maybe that would make the lifers community a little bit more nutrition based, because right now I feel like it's really heavy on the sweaty selfies, which is fine. But I do think people are wanting a little bit more food and nutrition stuff in that group. That's just not my forte. So, yeah. What do you think about that? I'm just throwing this out. Like, I have no idea.
I think that could be a really good idea. One thing I thought of when you were talking about like what does the 2BMindset group look like? I think like I was trying to compare it a little bit to like the lifers on how, okay, like every day, you take your sweaty selfie and then you post that on your one post. So, I mean, maybe it's like something that it just changes weekly. So like week 1, everyone is focused on using all their tools. So maybe it's like post a picture of your tracker every day or something, like you filled out your tracker, let's see it. And then it kind of holds people accountable. Because I was trying to think of like, Alina, to your point, like 2BMindset is to me a whole day thing. So while the portion containers, you kind of I feel like you have your day fully planned out. Not that you don't with 2BMindset, but I'm thinking like there just could be some of those, or more likely that maybe with 2BMindset, you might have the people that don't fully plan because maybe they just don't have that time, because that's what they liked about the 2BMindset, where you'd then be able to say, let's see what your trackers are. And then next week, maybe it's like, okay, let's, still fill out your trackers, but this week we want to see whatever it is when you finish your water. So I don't know. So I think though that getting them like in a routine of some type of posting, then you'd be able to say like, look at what you've done in 60 days. You can maintain this and you can do it. And then we're going to like plug you into this lifers group that, again, maybe that's changed a little bit too. Sorry, I have my window open if that's
loud. So yeah, I see kind of some pros and cons to doing these different ways. One thought that I have, so as we talk about doing separate groups and doing the nutrition one, because obviously we have, regardless of whether we decide we want to start a new one every 60 days, which I actually do think is a really good idea, and running those two separate groups, if we pull people from the nutrition group into the lifers group after they graduate the 2BMindset, I do think we'll need to have some sort of consistent daily check-in for them for nutrition, because that is what they signed up for and we want to keep them in that. I also think that will really benefit both ways, because I do think that there's going to be a lot of overlap between people who are currently in our challenge groups deciding they want to work more on nutrition and jumping in, if they haven't already, starting 2BMindset, and then also people who are starting to work on their nutrition. If we plug them into the lifers group after they graduate 2BMindset, they might be inspired to do some of these workout programs that maybe they hadn't thought about doing before. So I kind of like the idea of doing a 60-day 2BMindset group and then pulling those graduates into the lifers for long-term support. And then kind of using that 2BMindset as just kind of like what we used to do newbies, the newbie group, although it would just be program specific. What do you guys think about that?
I think that would be great. I think they'll feed off of each other. So that'll be, or they'll learn from each other. Feed off is probably the wrong word, but definitely that they'll learn from each other. And I think I just realized that I'm not in that 2BMindset group for us yet. My box shows up. Yeah, if you can put me in there, that'd be great. My box shows up, I think, tomorrow or Friday. So I've just been watching Elena, right? I've been watching her Instagram a lot, and also watching her videos in our coach test group, and kind of just learning from those so far. Also props to her, because she's like 8.5 months pregnant and running this right now. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. But I love the idea that Sophie had too of introducing or focusing 1 week on something, or maybe 2 things a week, depending on how we need to divide that up in 60 days. So
yeah. So one thing I think we're going to have to kind of think through a little bit is how will it be when we have 2 totally different systems? Because I've watched every single video. I went through the entire program and watched all the videos for 2BMindset. And it's very different than following the containers. Initially, when I started this, or before I dove into any of it, I really thought we could kind of meld the 2 and it would be basically the same, but it's very different. It's a very different system. It's a very different way of thinking. And I've used the containers for 3.5 years. And so this is like a huge jump for me to be like on the scale every day. It's just a totally different way of approaching food. So, we'll have to think about how do we want those check-ins to look in the lifers once we move those people into that group. Do we still, right now we have a post where everybody's doing their sweaty selfies on that one post. Would that be fitness and nutrition? So that would be where, or would we have separate ones where they do a sweaty selfie and then a separate post where they would put workouts? or where they would put what they're eating through the day. I don't know what that would look like as far as people follow, because all those people in the lifers now, most of them are doing containers. So that would be kind of an interesting blend of nutrition.
I think that one thing that I personally enjoy about our lifers group is that I can go through and look at this, everyone's sweaty selfies, or like the live videos this month or last month, like we had the different posts a day. And I think that what I enjoy about it is it breaks it up also, where I'm still very excited every morning to like look at all my notifications and see who checked in and check in. But I also enjoy the aspect of getting to know the people in our group. And so there is that little part of me that, as you were talking, like, do you have the sweaty selfies? And then do you have the nutrition? And then is there like another thing that you're posting on, where I think for some people who are new, whether it could be to social media or to the group, like it could get to be a lot for them that they're having to remember everything to check in on, where it is nice right now that you have, like this month, even if you didn't go live, you're just checking in as a sweaty selfie every day, or last month, like it did add a lot of like energy, I think, to the group when it was like someone traveled or whatever the thing was. So I feel like if it went to having nutrition, even though it would add more, I'd probably would say to keep it separate. Because I think for some people, it is nice when you see the comments and someone started a new program and then you're asking them about the program, where I think like the selfies and then the nutrition and all that could get lost in one post and you might lose engagement from people. But I mean, I think that for some people, like you said, that they want that nutrition, there are posts where it's like, hey, who has a recipe for this, or what's someone doing for dinner tonight, or whatever it is. So I feel like I don't have the answer either. I'm trying to just brainstorm out loud, but I feel like it would be nice to somehow incorporate people together, just because there are a few people who joined the 2BMindset and they're trying that out, but they're still in the lifers. So, you don't want to disconnect from them. But I do think that for those people that want really nothing to do with the workouts, it also could be a little bit of a turnoff for them, because it might be like, whoa, I'm not into that. I don't care what people are posting about their daily workouts or something. So, okay, I'm blabbing. I'm going to stop.
So all really good stuff. And I think 2 thoughts on that. One, we could just say, suck it up. You're going to be in the lifers. And if you don't want to check in with sweaty selfies, you don't look at that post and you're not going to get notifications of it because you're not commenting on it. So you're not going to get a little red number. Or when we ask them, maybe we ask them at 60 days, okay, you've been in here for 60 days. Do you want to transition to our ongoing lifers community, or do you want to repeat another round with a bunch of new people? Because maybe they aren't at their goals, or they aren't comfortable or wanting to do that. They have the choice, but they have to know you're going to see the same content over again, and you can just pretend that you're brand new and maybe help us out in being a leader because you've already been through this as you're continuing to reach your goals.
I love that. Question about that. Can you recommend more than one group at the top of a page? To have a group? So we could go in there at the end of the 60 days and say, these are your options. The 2 groups are at the top of the page. You can add yourself to whichever one you want to continue into. And that would be a really easy way to keep everybody plugged in where they feel comfortable and where they feel like they're going to get the most benefit. And that would also keep us on the ball as a team of continuing to have a specific start date with our 2BMindset nutrition groups. And I mean, we're already doing that with our lifers group, but it would just really, I think, keep the ball rolling really smoothly and have a place so nobody ever gets lost. Everybody just automatically rolls into a new group when we're done.
And I also think that nutrition post in the lifers group is going to have to be organically figured out in this process, because I still don't know what that really looks like. I mean, people are just using the group and randomly posting stuff, which is great. It's keeping the energy up, and Alina has her scheduled posts in there that get in there every morning. And I feel like it's flowing, and I'm checking in personally with all of my challengers in there, and they're loving it. And I think it just organically flows because people are excited about it. But yeah, I don't know what that nutrition post would look like in the lifers. We'll just kind of have to play that by ear.
So I think it could be something as simple as what we're doing with the sweaty selfies, where we have a post that's numbered, that's specific to nutrition, and they are responsible for posting their food pics. So everything that they eat through the day, they put a collage together at the end of the day and they share it. Or if they want to just share it as they go, and that keeps them on track with, all right, if it goes in my mouth, it goes on the page, right? They put it in there for their accountability. And I don't know how many people in the lifers group now would really tap into that or want that. I know definitely some of them would, but that's going to be, I think, having that, or even posting, the people who are coming in from 2BMindset, posting a picture of their tracker. Like at the end of the day, everything that they tracked, snap a picture of it and post it. And that would be the same thing as them, if, you know, focusing on fitness and posting their sweaty selfie when they, or their workout video when they're done working out.
I like that. And I didn't even think about, Andrea, what you had said, where you don't get the notification if you don't comment on it. So I think that makes sense too, that if someone just wants to be in it for the nutrition and some of the extras, then just don't ever post on, you know, comment on the sweaty selfie, or vice versa. If you're not someone that wants to do the nutrition or care about it, then, you know, there's not a right or wrong kind of with it. So I think that could definitely, I think it could work. I mean, and you could always do it for a couple weeks and then do like a, what do you guys think? or something, what's working or whatnot. So I think that could be a good option.
Yeah, I love that. And I was going to say something else and I completely lost it. It was on that topic. Oh, the overlap in the 2BMindset group and our lifers. There's, I think the 2BMindset group is like 62 people. I think 40 of them are currently in the lifers group. So those 40 people would be checking in on the 2BMindset check-in after these 60 days of being separate. That way they have those two places to check in if they're wanting to track that.
I think for me, that would be more helpful for me to check in with my food than it would be for my workouts, because my workouts, I get them done. My food, I'm horrible. Like Andrea, the one time I actually got back on track a few weeks ago was only because I was texting you when I, you know, like keeping me accountable with my nutrition. So I know there's people in there, regardless if they continue on with 2BMindset after they're done with the program, or if they jump back into the containers, having a place to check in with their food, I think a lot of people will benefit from.
And let's just say how much of a natural, easy marketing thing this is going to be when everyone is seeing people check in with their trackers and they're going to be like, what is this 2BMindset thing? They invited me at the beginning of May and I didn't join, and now I'm having FOMO, and maybe I should buy that and get on the bandwagon because so-and-so just lost 30 pounds doing this. So-and-so got through a plateau, you know? So all of us posting in there and just being positive about it is the, you know, positive peer pressure that we want, which is why I post about energize and why we should be posting about recover. And I saw Andrea just hop on, so I'm pretty sure she could advocate for that. So those are the things we need.
So this is not 2BMindset related, but I have a thought when you say about people watching, people tracking and being like, oh, what is this? I should jump into 2BMindset. Maybe as part of the lifers down the road, we should do something where we kind of like what we're doing now with the live videos, but we have people sign up for a program or a product, something that they're using, and then they get on that day and they share about what it's like, why they love it, what, you know, how they're benefiting from it. And I think that would give other people in the group really good ideas if they're thinking about what program should I do next, or I see people drinking Recover, but I've never tried it. and being able to hear people's experiences could be really a good place for people to take the leap and do it.
I love that idea. And we could have a whole list of like every program and all of the products, and people could just sign up next to one that they feel comfortable talking about. And Sophie was going to say something earlier, so I'm going to let her talk.
Oh, well, now I have two things. So I'll go to my second thing first because it's on topic. So I would love this because I would never say this to anyone outside of our SLD group, but the 600 plus workouts like scare the crap out of me because it's way too much to choose from. Like it is like when you go to a restaurant and they have 10 pages of food that I'm like, I don't even know what to do. So I'm like about to finish, 80-day obsession. I'm like, I'll probably just go back to 21-day fix because I've done it before. But like, I'm like, I don't know I could obviously go learn, but I feel like, and I've done shift shop, but like, I would love to hear from other people, like why they love the workout programs that they do, or what they love about their strawberry Shakeology or whatever it is. Like I think that would be such a cool thing to hear from people. And even if multiple people signed up for one thing, like why is it different for everyone? So I'm 100% on board for that. And then my second question was, so when you think about the 2BMindset group, so it's if you do the 60 days and let's say it starts, May 1st through the end of June. So if you have someone then that you're signing up mid-time, like what would that look like for them? Is that something that, you would then say, hey, because I'm just trying to think, because I feel like, when you had like the 3-week groups, that it was easy to say this is in 3 more weeks, but I feel like it'd be really hard to tell someone like, shoot, you just missed it by 2 weeks and now you have to wait 40 days. So that was just a thought I had. Doesn't have to be answered now, but just a brainstorming thing.
That's a really good question. I don't know if we have a good answer for that right now.
I think
we'd have to look at the content. We could potentially, one idea would be to shorten it and make it a 30-day group. And then you run a free group, just like we did with our newbies groups for challenge packs. You run a free group that then rolls into the next group. So there's kind of that free group they could join in the meantime if they joined 3 weeks, if they just missed the deadline, to kind of get them in the door. But I don't know what that looks like content-wise. I'd have to look through all the posts and really see if shortening it to I think it would be doable because I went through every video in one day. So I really do think we could make it a 30-day group and then roll them, but something we'd have to look at.
I was going to say too, if you started May 1st and you signed someone up on May 26th or something, I think that you could also have them join, but have them, it might be more work. So maybe as I'm talking, it might not make sense, but I was thinking like, if I was like, okay, Andrea, I signed you up now for this, and I'm going to plug you into this group, and I'm going to tag you kind of in that post, and you can kind of see some of the posts or whatever it might be, and maybe we number the posts or something, but they'd at least have that. Or you could say, I am going to plug you in, you have all the content for that beginning piece of it. We're going to get you in the group so you have the accountability, and then I'm going to keep you in it for another like 60 days or something. So it's like, they could almost have that option. Obviously they'll get it anyways, but I think it also might just depend on the person. Because I feel like, when you're talking to someone and signing someone up, I feel like you would know if you're like, this person needs to be in it from like day one, where you might have those people who are just good with their nutrition and they work out and you're like, oh, they're fine. Let's just plug them in or something. But yeah, I would hate to, chop it down and feel like it's crunched and rush it just to kind of accommodate some of that. But I would want to make sure that for those people that are signing up mid-month or miss it, that they still have that success as well.
I totally agree. And I feel like it would maybe even be possible to sign people up at any time until like the last 3 weeks and just plug them in and say, this is our group. And if they want to join within those last 3 weeks, you could say, I have another group starting in a couple of weeks. I'll get you signed up so you can start watching the videos and kind of dabbling in it, but I will plug you in on June 1st when it officially starts. I have one going, but it's at the tail end, and I don't want you to feel like you're the last kid at the lunch table. So let's get you signed up, but I'll put you on my list and I'll plug you into June. You know, like just those last 3 week, like if somebody signs up on week 5, you could probably plug them in. And like Sophie said, if you feel like they only need those 3.5 weeks in the group, and then you can give them the 2 options of staying in another group or going to the lifers, that would be fine. But you wouldn't want to have someone join with like 15 days left and be like, okay, here's your 2 choices. You know what I mean? Like maybe we could do it that way. So it's still a little bit more free flowing and not so rigid. Like we have a 30-day group, you know. I love the freedom of being able to just add a lifer whenever we want. Like it is so amazing that I don't have to worry about a schedule and be like, no, you can't join until this date. Like I can help you right now. I love that piece of it. So I don't want to lose that. What do you guys think of that?
I think it'll be important just to kind of play it out with the individual that signs up and give them the option for sure and talk through it with them, because between you and them having that conversation, you should be able to figure out, yeah, you could probably slide in week 2 and catch up and be just fine. Or you might want to start from the beginning. Are you okay just reviewing some of this stuff? And we'll be starting, you know, in 10 days or something like that. And then a side thought with sharing like workouts we like for like next month or whatever. I wonder how many people have done some of the older ones, like Brazil butt lift or something like that, that would actually share with some of those. Because I feel like so many of us do the same ones that it'd be really interesting to see, like Sophie said, 600 plus workouts, a lot of workouts. Like where or who is anybody doing some of those?
I think there's definitely, especially with as big of a group as we have, there's people who've tried them all. Whether or not they'd be able to get on, they'd be willing to get on and share, that might be a different story. But some of those older ones I haven't done start to finish, but I've definitely dabbled in them or done workouts here or there. Brazil butt lift, that trainer. Oh my gosh, I laugh every time I think about that.
Well, honestly, it might encourage people to try it.
Yeah.
And talk about it. You know, we have a full list of things people can sign up for, and maybe not everything gets a name next to it, but it might inspire somebody to try a new program and then talk about it at the end of the month or something. I don't know.
Right.
I think it's a super fun idea.
I think that I don't want to put like pressure on people too, but it would be interesting too if, you know, if you had someone sign up for whatever 80-day obsession and that was their day, if somehow like they could even share like what time they plan to go live so that people could like interactively ask them questions, because I feel like for some people that do like the Cour de Force, like I would want to know like, what do you do and why do you love it? And I want to hear you live and I want to ask you all these questions.
Yeah.
Not that you can do it later, but I mean, I think it could also just be engaging and fun or something, but I just picture, I think sometimes too, it's hard where you're wanting to watch that live video later and you're like, forget about it or whatever. And maybe someone is really eager to know, like, what is this 80-day obsession? Why does everyone love it? Oh, you're going to talk about it at 5. I'm going to just try to make sure I can get on and listen or something. I mean, I tried it once and no one showed up, but I mean, it might work if you give them a time.
No, I love the live Q&A. Andrea Anderson says it's fun because you can beat the crap out of a bag.
Or it's just fun because you're watching Joel, and I mean, that's fun. Just a plus on that one too.
Okay, we should probably wrap this up. I've got a lot of follow-ups to do tonight, so selfishly I need to get going. But anyways, this was a really good call to record. I'm really glad we did, because I feel like I'm going to forget something that was said. And yeah, thanks for being here, you guys.
Yes.
It goes better when we have people to brainstorm with other than just Alina and I.
Yes.
This was really
So
helpful.
good.
It helped answer some questions, and I really like this kind of script change that you have. I've been trying to figure out how to incorporate that when I am asking people about nutrition or what it is that, you know, is struggling for them. So I really like how just quick that is to kind of do that. So thank you for sharing that.
Yep, no problem. All right, we'll see you later, you guys.
Have a good night, everybody. Bye.